You're listening to Strange by Nature, your guide to the strange, weird, unbelievable, and improbable wonders of the natural world.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for being here today. I'm Kirk Mona, and joining me are Rachel Gimza and Victoria Thompson. We're all naturalists who together have scoured the world for weird and wonderful wonders, just to please your mammalian brain's desire for novelty. Isn't that nice? Let's do this.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to be here with Kirk and Victoria. I get to start us off this week, and I'm actually starting off on a pretty Victoria topic, actually. So listeners, take that with what you will in terms of, take that with what you will. No, but I will have some frank discussion about some medical things.
Awesome. I'm here for it.
Yay! So we've actually talked about this bacteria before, at least a cousin of it, on the podcast. Victoria, you touched on it and talked about it with tetanus, actually, which you did way back in episode 104, which inspired me for this. I actually was going through and was like, I don't know if we've covered tetanus. I should look into that because it's been coming up a lot more recently for me. And no, but it's been coming up in like social media kind of stuff and like vaccines and that kind of thing. Yay. And I was just like, have we done tetanus? And then I like looked and like, yeah, we did tetanus, which happens more and more, which is amazing. And I love it so much. So I'm talking about a Clostridium bacteria. I am talking about Clostridium botulinum.
Ooh, botulism.
Botulism, which is a bacteria that exists in the natural environment.
It's all natural, folks.
It's all natural. It's everywhere. Yay! So it's able to reproduce by spores, and it does really, 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 really well in low oxygen environments. Anaerobic is preferred, in fact.
Okay.
So this bacteria actually originates in the soil, similar to tetanus, which is probably why it's in the same genus of bacterium that can cause the toxin that causes tetanus in the first place. It's in the Clostridium family. Genus, I suppose, not family. And it can survive a wide variety of places. I already talked about how it can survive in anaerobic environments, so that's low oxygen or no oxygen environments. It can also survive boiling water at sea level.
I don't like that at all.
That is that kills most bacteria for listeners, so that way you know. But that is why when you get a canned food anywhere, all canned food that is produced by machines and things like that and by people is actually canned at a higher pressure and higher boiling temperature than boiling water at sea level. And that's
commercially available canned food.
Yes, commercially available canned food. It is pressurized and done at such high temperatures because of botulinum. You don't want it. It's a very hardy bacterium. If you are canning at home, it is important to make sure that you do so properly and follow all of the instructions. Do it very carefully.
Yeah,
you want to make sure that you have pretty high levels of oxygen in your things or extremely low moisture levels, have high acidity or low dissolve or like high amount of dissolved sugar in your item. That's why pickles is actually relatively safe because they are acidic enough to stop the growth of the Clostridium botulinum bacteria.
Yeah. And that's why you should always just stick your fingers right into the pickle jar and pull the pickles out, right?
No.
Is that controversial?
Yes. I guess do what you want to, but like a fork is right there.
I mean, it is. I just know there's two kinds of people in this world. People who stick their fingers in the pickle jar and people who don't stick their fingers in the pickle jar.
don't stick my my fingers in a pickle jar. Yeah.
Nor do I.
Say that carefully.
won't.
I don't either, but that's because I don't eat pickles.
Yeah, you don't like pickles.
Fair.
No.
All right.
I want to like pickles. I just don't.
That's fair. Now that we've talked a little bit about the bacteria itself is really not the issue. The bacteria, Clostridium botulinum, which, by the way, that's Latin. I said that so smoothly.
You did. Gold
Really
star,
good.
Rachel.
So proud of myself.
Gold star.
I practiced a lot. The toxin that Clostridium botulinum creates is actually the issue. It's, in fact, one of the deadliest substances out there.
Yes, it is.
Oof.
Not good. So this is actually a pretty diverse group. So when we were talking about Clostridium botulinum, it is actually not necessarily one bacteria. It's bacteria that are able to produce botulinum toxin. Which,
And there's several that can do that.
Under anaerobic conditions.
Yes. So
Gotcha.
and it can be found in a pretty good range of habitats and things too. Like pretty much if you can just assume that if you're doing anything with food, that botulism is on those surfaces and things, which we hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that.
But as you say, it's not the bacterium that's the problem.
It's not. So there are 7 different serotypes, which is pretty much a genetic variation, kind of like not a phenotype because there are 4 different phenotypes, but there are 7 different serotypes. Yeah, there's a lot of little things.
Okay.
I was like looking at the variations. I'm like, does that mean that there are 28 different types here, or what is happening? I didn't get a clear answer on that. So
I think for our purposes, it probably doesn't matter that much.
It doesn't. But each of those different serotypes are like different versions of the toxin. Of the botulism. So that's why I'm going to go into it a little bit. And they all have different effects on disease bearing and such. So they're categorized helpfully from A to G.
Okay.
The ones that we mostly worry about are A, B, and E, because they are generally the ones that are associated with food. Type E is actually associated just with fish and fish products.
Okay.
And those are the ones that people are most, like, those are the ones that people are getting sick with most of the time.
Okay.
Type C and type D actually affect birds and then other mammals, but don't necessarily affect humans.
Okay.
And type G apparently doesn't cause any sort of disease as far as scientists can tell.
Oh.
Huh.
So we're like,
that's
what's
nice.
going on? And then there's also like a type H, technically, which is so helpful, but it's not a type H because it's actually A and F combined together.
What?
And
Okay.
Come on.
it's like, okay, just name it something else. Like, just have it be H.
Name it F.
Name it F. There we go. So yeah, it's weird. It gets complicated really fast.
It is toxic AF.
Yeah. Okay. So why am I talking about this? Why do we really care? So botulinum, what it comes down to is a neurotoxin. So we've talked about neurotoxins before on this. It can be
we have.
pretty serious. It's actually pretty serious, but it is fairly rare that people die and that people get botulism. There's been a rise recently, but just be careful. So generally what happens is people eat the toxin. Okay. Sometimes it is in
Sounds
the
terrible,
food
but that's
that they're
very accurate.
eating, but that is what is happening.
Okay,
is
so
they are eating something that contains the botulism or the Clostridium botulinum that has started to produce the toxin.
The toxin, yeah.
maybe their mother didn't tell them the way my mother told me many, many times that you don't eat food from a bulging can.
Do not eat
God,
anything
no.
from a bulging can. Don't. And that's also why honey, you're not supposed to give honey to babies under the year of 1, who are younger than 1 year old, because that's often how babies actually get botulism, because there's often Clostridium botulinum. There's spores in the honey, and they don't have the digestive juices to be able to deal with it, and so then it sits in their stomach and
makes it in their stomach.
Makes it, and then ends up getting them like sick. So
I may have known that at one point, but I'd forgotten that. That's really interesting.
It's wild. So what exactly happens? So generally what happens is, since this is a neurotoxin, it's going to affect the nervous system. So what ends up happening is you start being extremely tired. You start having some weakness. You might be a little bit dizzy. You might have vertigo. If you don't go to the doctor with all of this, you'll end up with like dry mouth. You might have some difficulty swallowing, speaking. You might end up with some blurred vision. And other like stomachy kind of stuff will also happen. Like you can start to vomit, or you might have diarrhea or constipation.
None of that sounds good.
It sounds fun, right? So
no, it does not, Rachel.
No,
not in the slightest. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So if it keeps going and you don't go to the doctor, then it'll progress and you'll start having weakness in your neck and arms. And then your respiratory muscles, the things that help you breathe.
That's the really bad
lungs
part.
And things. That's the worst part. And the muscles of your lower body are affected.
Man.
You know what I didn't talk about this entire time?
What?
You're awake for all of this. You're conscious.
Oh,
You're not going to lose consciousness for this.
Lovely.
Great.
You're going to be aware the whole time. I was looking at, while I was doing my research for this, there's quite a few photos of people. Their eyelids are shut. They look like they're asleep, but they are fully awake. They just can't open their eyelids. They can't speak.
I guess for as long as their breathing muscles hold out.
This actually reminds me of the when I talked about fugu. How that's a similar thing where you can your body is completely shutting down and you are totally aware of it.
You may not know what's going on, but there's no fever or anything like that. You're just being affected by this toxin.
Ugh.
And usually, people are able to be like, if you go to the doctor early enough, like you can be like, not protected, but like you can get treatment and things like that. Symptoms usually occur within 12 to 36 hours. So, symptoms occur within 12 to 36 hours. And the mortality rate is actually really high. Even if immediate treatment is not given. It can be fatal, according to the World Health Organization. It can be fatal in 5 to 10% of cases, which is pretty high considering that most of the time botulism is not a very common thing.
Sure.
Better if they can get you onto a ventilator.
Yes, and oftentimes you're on that ventilator for days, if not weeks. So like you are going to be on the treatment generally is like an antitoxin, which feels like it should be obvious, right? But it is not. It'll be administered as soon as it possibly can, and that is actually really effective to helping. But the longer you're on, the longer you go without that, the World Health Organization says that you can be on ventilation and supportive treatment for months.
Oh my God.
Because you have to build up all of your muscles again, because it just attacks the nervous system, and it causes you to fully just, it weakens everything.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah. So what do we do? How do we know why is this not as big of a deal in our daily lives? Well, we're really good at preparing food during heating and sterilization. And the fact that we all should know, don't eat food out of a bulging can, is pretty good. And people are also getting a lot better about what they can and can't serve to their kids, which has been really helpful. I will tell you that there's like a couple different ways that you can get botulism, the toxin. Most people get it through the food. Sometimes infants will get it, and that's usually by foodborne, like I mentioned earlier. So like eating honey when they are like less than a year old. Yeah, it's mostly because like the natural defenses, like I mentioned, in their intestines just aren't there. Like once you get to 6 months, the bacteria and the environment, the microbiome we have in our intestines actually prevent the growth. And we're like, we don't like that. And they eat it and like take care of that bacterium. So that way it doesn't have time to create spores or create the toxin. Infants don't have that. Wounds also, you're able to get botulism through a wound. That's pretty rare.
Kind of similar to tetanus.
Similar to tetanus, yeah. Same with inhalation. That really has not happened. It is the most deadly way to get botulism. It's actually been associated with bioterrorism. So, yeah.
Lovely.
So it's longer on. It takes longer for the effects to set in, but it happens. You end up with respiratory failure faster.
Well, you did miss one other way you can get botulism toxin into your body.
I was going to say, Rachel, you haven't mentioned that some people...
I know. Most of us know botulism, the botulinum toxin, through Botox.
Yeah, you can inject it into your forehead.
You can. And the reason why it works... The reason why it works so well is because it is a paralytic toxin. So it is the same one that produces Botox. It has to be... You can't get Botox by someone who isn't licensed and actually knows what they're doing. It is heavily diluted of the type A neurotoxin. So I mentioned types A through G. This is type A, heavily diluted. Just so that way it is very minimal. People have gotten botulism from Botox when it has been not done correctly. So
no thanks.
Do that with what you will. Please, I don't know, age gracefully.
I'll keep my wrinkles.
Yeah, they were probably pretty surprised when that happened, but they were incapable of showing surprise.
Yeah, correct.
Well, I will say though that there are some actual medical and not just cosmetic uses.
Oh, that's right.
Botox, which maybe you were going to mention, Rachel.
No, go for it, Victoria.
Yeah, so actually for, like particularly for people who've had spinal cord injuries and have bladder spasticity, getting regular Botox injections every several months can reduce that. And
that's nice.
Also, it can be used in treatment of migraines, like very
that's what I'd heard,
difficult to treat migraines. That can be kind of a helpful last resort.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about this on the show, but we've had a lot of the a lot of the deadliest things around on the planet are things that we are able to turn around and be able to use in health benefits or a variety of other things like we talked about. I think the blue-ringed octopus and its venom. So there's been a lot of things like that. So I'm not surprised. I mostly wanted to learn about botulism, and wow, was I not prepared. But thanks, Victoria. That is what I have for you all this week. Botulism. Yep.
Just remember, everybody, it's all natural.
Oh, God. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Cook things at proper temperatures. All right. So my sources this week are Wikipedia, the Mayo Clinic, CDC, and the World Health Organization. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, it'll be Victoria.
Well, we're back.
Yay!
We're back, yay. You may remember a couple weeks ago I talked about the worms that could see the color blue without having any sort of eyesight.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That was absolutely wild and not at all difficult to try to figure out what to do on the social media post at all.
Yeah, in our newsletter, yeah.
Honestly, you're fine. Kirk does existential crisis every once in a while, and that's hard.
Well, this is my topic this week is kind of related to that, but in a philosophical way, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Right.
I want to talk about the color blue in nature.
Ooh.
Victoria,
Okay.
this is so timely. I'll tell you why in a little bit. It has nothing to do with my
okay.
topic.
Okay, good.
I'll say now. I was literally having this discussion with my wife about 5 minutes before we recorded.
Interesting.
Because I read the same article you did about this probably, but that's amazing.
Okay. I'm really interested, especially since I know that I've talked about blue a little bit in nature. Like there's only the mandarin fish is one of the only things that produces blue.
Yes.
If I remember right.
I forgot that you had talked about that, but
It's all good.
I only briefly mentioned the mandarin fish.
Beautiful.
Yes, so it's a fascinating topic for me, partly because truly blue things in nature are really rare and special.
Yeah.
Therefore,
Yeah.
as you kind of alluded to, Rachel, there's only a few animals and only a few plants that show what I would consider at least a true blue color.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Birds, butterflies, sea creatures, amphibians that are blue, they stand out and they're often seen as special in a way that animals with more common colors are not.
Right.
And, in plants, there are a lot of plants that have flowers and fruit that are called blue, but they're kind of often purplish.
Yeah.
Blueberries, for example.
For example, blueberries. That was my example.
Oh, phenomenal.
They're, they look bluish, and then
Yeah.
you cut them. They're purplish
The
blue.
outside.
And the outside
blue.
is bluish, and then the inside is really purple.
Yeah.
The thing is, color in nature can happen in two basic ways. So one is from a pigment. Think of this like paint.
Right.
The color is an inherent property of the pigment, of the molecule that causes that color.
They're able to make that color in their
Right.
body, like that pigment. Yeah.
And it's blue or red or yellow or whatever color in itself. So if you take some feathers that have a red pigment and grind them up, you'll get a red powdered feathers that are red.
Right.
True blue pigments are extremely rare in nature, which I'll discuss more in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But the other way color can happen is through structure. And I think we've touched on this at various times.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little
different
bit. Yeah.
episodes.
Yeah.
So the structure of a feather or a petal or a cell that causes light to scatter in a certain way such that it reflects only blue light. And this is called structural color. And that is the way that blue is produced in almost all animals. All birds with blue feathers, almost all butterflies and other insects that appear blue, blue poison dart frogs even, all due to structural coloration. Yeah, I had to really dig pretty hard to find out about poison dart frogs, but it's apparently a structural color on a cellular level. There's
Wow.
like 2 different layers, and
Wow.
yeah.
That's wild. Okay.
Apparently, green frogs have a yellow over blue kind of thing
really?
going on too.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Just as a side note. So, if you take a feather from a blue jay, which is a common kind of North American bird that has beautiful blue feathers, and you grind it up, you get a dull gray powder. The grinding destroys the structure that produces the color in the feathers. So, and structural color is often associated with iridescence, as you can kind of imagine, like the light reflecting off of it and the scattering. In plants, purplish blue or blue colors that we see in things like blueberries or red purple cabbage are from pigments called anthocyanins. These are very cool, and I used to have a side gig as an after-school science program instructor, and there was an experiment we would do with dried powdered red cabbage. You can buy this commercially. It's just a fine powder made out of...
I've just done it by grinding up a cabbage.
Yeah, well, that's messier, but
but fun.
You can do it.
Fun. And then you can add different acids and bases to it, like lemon juice or baking soda, bleach, and so forth. And it's an acid-base indicator, basically. It can turn different colors depending on the pH. So an acid like vinegar or lemon juice added to this will make a red or pink color. And then as you get closer and closer to neutral, it shades more toward purple. At 7 is a neutral pH, so that's purple. And then as you get higher into more basic or alkaline pHs, you actually do get a true blue color at pH 8.
Yeah.
And then as you go higher, it'll shade to green and then yellow.
Yeah, if you can make it turn yellow, you're in danger. Yeah.
No, don't touch it.
What I do with kids, we've gotten it green. If you're getting yellow, it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So, yeah, in some sense, these common anthocyanin pigments can produce a true blue color, but it's not stable. It's only at a very particular pH. And flowers that make a bluish color get this from anthocyanin pigments and then manipulating the pH of their cells and some other factors that influence it to maintain this color.
Sure.
But there are actually 2 fruits that I've been able to find out during my research of this episode that have a true bright blue, like it's blue. It's not purple, it's blue.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, so one is the fruit from a tree called Elaeocarpus angustifolia, which is a tropical species. It's found from India to northern Australia, also known as the blue quandong, and several other names.
Cool.
It produces
what a fun name.
Yeah, it is a fun name. And the fruits are really fun. They're extremely striking. They're almost perfectly round, and they're vivid, bright blue, and they're about 1 to 2 centimeters in diameter. But
I'm looking at them now. They're pretty.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. You wouldn't want to eat it because, like, blue food is a little
It makes me
concerning.
nervous.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is fascinating. It turns out that they are blue due to structural coloration.
Really? That's wild. Okay.
Yeah.
So just like a iridescent feather in the same kind of way.
Yeah. So it's a precise arrangement of the cell walls in a certain distance and pattern and so forth that reflects blue light.
Okay.
Okay. So if you crush them up, are they no longer blue?
Correct.
Oh, they love that.
All right. The other is a fruit from a tree called Clerodendrum trichotomum, also known as the glory tree or the peanut butter tree. Which
what
apparently
a name.
Apparently the leaves have a peanut butter odor when crushed, which I still
That's
want to
fun.
see one of these.
I want to smell one.
They're apparently planted pretty widely as ornamentals all over the world.
The
now,
flowers
including-
look gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, so It's native to East Asia, but it's planted everywhere, including the southern United States.
Mm-hmm.
So the berries of this tree start off as white, and then they turn bright blue and eventually dark blue. And it looks extra dramatic because this berry is surrounded by a bright red calyx.
Oh,
It's
yes,
very
it is.
pretty. And this is a true
Whoa.
blue pigment found, as far as we know, nowhere else in nature, called trichotomine.
Whoa.
And
Okay.
That's so
historically,
cool.
yeah, it is really cool. Historically, it's been used as a dye, and it's currently being investigated as a natural food colorant. Because, there's this movement to move away from artificial food colorings. But
Right.
blue is a tricky one.
Just a little.
So it sounds like it's
Okay.
sounds like it's like it's edible then.
At least somewhat. And it's not poisonous. They've tested it in mice, and it shows no acute toxicity, I think is the phrasing that I read.
Oh, I see someone saying it's
Okay.
edible but sour.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds like fruit I would like.
Yeah. You're pretty sour.
It's true. I also just like sour things.
Yep. That's why you hang out with us.
Okay. Oh man. That sounds really cool. So they're using that for natural food dye.
They're investigating it.
They're investigating it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Cool.
finally, I want to talk about a few true blue pigments found in the animal kingdom. So, Rachel, you mentioned the mandarin fish,
Mandarin.
and there's
Yep.
another related fish called the psychedelic mandarin.
Yeah.
That have
That
these-
was way back in episode 74.
Yeah, that's probably
my
why I
gosh.
didn't remember that you had talked about that.
Yep. Don't blame you in the slightest.
They're incredibly beautiful fish, and they have these electric blue. I mean, they have swirling colors, including orange and pink and aqua, and then electric blue along the edges of their fins. in different
They're
places.
the most completely bonkers pattern and color fish
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
Beautiful. Don't actually have scales. It's wild.
Yeah, and they're the only vertebrate with actual blue pigment. But there's a group of butterflies. So almost all butterflies that are blue use structural coloration. But butterflies in the Nassea genus have a true blue pigment called pterobilin. And this is like weirdly part of a category of what are called bile pigments. So like bile like comes from your liver.
Yeah.
It is green. It is green because of a bile pigment.
Right.
Okay.
Not a great name.
No, not really. But they think that this blue, it shows up in the wings of the adults, may also play a role in photoreception in some of the cells of the caterpillars, kind of
Really?
harking back to
okay.
my episode of the other week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's also a really cool looking sea star, blue sea star, Lynchia levigata. And it has a bright blue pigment that is thought to act as an antioxidant that may help it cope with a biologically stressful environment. I mean, it lives in tidal zones and tropical areas, so it's subjected to high heat and lots of UV radiation. And it seems that it's not a sunscreen exactly, but it helps cope with that stuff.
Cool.
There is actually a lot more that could be said about the color blue in nature, but I'm kind of running out of time here. And so that's what I have to say about blue. I just think it's so cool, and the different ways that nature has come up to produce this difficult but strangely alluring color is fascinating.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Great.
My sources this week, there was an article in Forbes from 23rd of November 2025 about the blue fruit, the one with the structural coloration. Helpful article on why the color blue is so rare in nature from the University of Adelaide. Northern Woodlands magazine had an article about why most animals aren't true blue. A little bit about the blue sea star from an article in Marine Biology from January of 2025. And then structural color and iridescence in plants, the poorly studied relations of pigment color from Annals of Botany in 2010. We are going to take a break. And when we come back, it'll be Kirk.
Thanks, Victoria.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. As humans, we spend a lot of time making our homes nice, not just for ourselves, but also for others. Like the home decor market in the US is a little hard to track down. I tried to search out reliable numbers and they were all over the place. They ranged from $31 billion a year on the low side to $215 billion on the high side. The high number was, according to the highly dubiously named market research company Mordor Intelligence. Yeah.
I don't know if they are either they're the best nerds out there or
right. Look, they may do really great work. I have no way of knowing, but maybe don't name your company after the place where all the evil comes from in Lord of the Rings. That just seems like you're asking for trouble. Anyhow, getting back on topic, it probably depends on what you consider decor. But my point is that we spend huge amounts of money trying to make our homes look more welcoming and more appealing. We see this in nature with animals as well. Bowerbirds will decorate their nests. That's probably the most famous example. I think we've talked about them on the show. But even American robins do this on a smaller scale. One nature center I used to work at had lots of robin nests in our collection. And while there were like the standard ones with little bits of mylar wrappers and like blue strings from plastic tarps mixed in as decoration, the real star of the collection was a muddy old robin nest that had completely incorporated a large koosh ball in its entirety.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
For those of you not alive in the late 80s, a koosh ball is not a big ball of weed. It was a huge hit toy that was basically just a ball about the size of a baseball, but made completely of small, thin rubber strands, kind of like a brightly colored rubber pom-pom. They came in all kinds of bright colors, and when some poor kid left theirs in the yard, a robin found it and thought it would be the perfect addition to her nest. So that was a pretty wild thing to see.
She was correct.
Yeah, my point is we all love decorations. So here's my question though. Would you ever think about making your home less attractive to visitors?
I think some people do that, actually.
Yeah.
It depends. If I know something that they are going to hate and I don't want them to visit, then perhaps.
That would work. Or like if there was like a criminal, you might want to make your house less inviting to like a burglar or something, right?
Yeah.
You can maybe put out like a sign that you have a security system or something like that, or maybe
dog.
Put like, no trespassing signs, warning dog,
Sure.
exactly.
People put out lights and things for that same thing.
Yep. You could build a house far away from where other people would be. You could put bars on the windows and doors. I guess the bars and the windows and doors like are actual physical structures to keep people out, but they also send a clear message of like, go away. Don't even think about it, right? Well, it turns out that birds have ways of keeping other animals away from their homes as well. And they can make them seem like unfriendly places to be. And I have an example of that this week. I bring to you this week the common waxbill. And these are a small songbird from sub-Saharan Africa. For reference, they weigh about 8 grams. So they're smaller than a chickadee, or for our UK listeners, about the size of a coal tit. So they're mostly gray birds, but they do have bright red bills, a red streak on their bellies, and a very sporty red, like bright red bandito mask.
Ooh,
so they're kind of cute.
Oh, they are super cute.
Yeah, I have not been to Africa to see them, but they are on my life list because they were introduced to Hawaii, and I have seen them there. So these small birds have found a great way to use decor to keep predators away from the eggs in their nest. They use fur.
Oh.
So these small birds find little bits of fur and tuck them into their nest, and this keeps away predators. Now, you may be wondering,
How?
okay, yeah, how? Like, how does fur keep predators away from the nests? And I have to tell you, like, if you think about it, where you source the fur is really important. I suppose you could just try like pluck it right out of an animal, and some birds do. Some birds do that.
Yep.
That is dangerous. And if you're, you can also pick it up off the ground, like one strand at a time. That would be very time consuming. That's not what they do either. You could get it from a source. I'm sure you have both seen where we have all worked. What is a nice compact source of fur that can be very conveniently found on the ground? Sometimes in the middle of a trail.
Scat.
Owl pellets.
Scat.
Oh, Rachel got it. Scat. Yes,
Scat.
indeed. The answer is scat. These waxbills pick through the fresh droppings of large predators and pull out bits of scat covered fur to decorate their nest. And if you're thinking, this probably smells terrible, well, you are correct. And that seems to be exactly the point. Researchers have even witnessed the birds dunking the fur into water to kind of reactivate the smell if the scat was too dry. Yeah, and it is said that you can find a waxbill nest just by smelling, which makes those old Toucan Sam Fruit Loops commercials seem so much grosser when he was telling the kids, just follow your nose. It always knows. Maybe he was warning them about waxbill nests. I'm not sure.
Yuck.
So people have observed this scat heron nests, but the question, I guess, is, does it work? I mean, you kind of assume it does, and it was assumed that that's why it was there. But you got to put it to the test. So Justin G. Schuetz, I think that's how you say his name, published a paper in the January 2005 edition of Behavioral Ecology that says, yes, that's what's going on. So it definitely does work. What he did is build artificial nests and then decorated some with scat fur and others without, and then looked at the rate of predation on the nests. And he was able to show that the nests that smelled like predator scat were actually less likely to be predated on, which is both fascinating and disgusting at the same time.
And fair. I wouldn't want to go. No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Now, I know some of you will have relatives over for the holidays coming up. And I know what you're thinking. You don't want them to overstay their welcome. Now,
Kirk, no.
I got to say, I am not suggesting you use this method to get them to leave.
Please
That's really gross. I think having your house smell like feces certainly would do the trick, right?
Yeah.
You could fake a sewer main backup or something like that. But you're going to have to find more clever ways to get them to move along. I do want to say that if you think of a particularly good one, be sure to share it with us at contact@strangebynaturepodcast.com. Who knows? We might read it on the air. You could do all of our listeners a huge favor if you give them some ideas of how to make your home less welcoming this holiday season. That's what I have for you. I don't have any sources other than what I mentioned in the story itself, but that's our show for the week.
My God.
What a way to end.
Scat nests, yeah.
Gross. I mean, fair though. Thanks, Kirk.
You're welcome. Yeah, bye-bye, everyone.
See y'all next week.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to today's show. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes drop every Wednesday, and we love sharing this strange world with all our listeners. If you would be so kind as to leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts, that would be great. It lets other lovers of the strange discover the show. You can reach us by searching for Strange by Nature Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. You can send us an email as well. Our address is contact@strangebynaturepodcast.com. If you want more information about the show, you can check out our website, strangebynaturepodcast.com, and you can support the show and get ad-free episodes at patreon.com/strangebynature. Until next week, get outside, stay curious, and embrace the strange.